I'm Ross Campbell, welcome to my channel. Today I want to share something with you that I learned from watching a video that Joe Bonamassa posted to his Instagram page. And in this clip, Joe is sound checking. He's playing a 335 through his current Dumble and Fender Twin rig, which sounds absolutely just ridiculously good. And he starts out with some very bluesy improv, but all of a sudden launches into this arpeggiated sequence of notes that sound just absolutely beautiful. It really stood out to me and it caught me off guard because it almost sounded like something a violinist might play. It was very clean, articulate, melodic. It had a sweeter quality to it than the grittier, more aggressive sound of the blues licks that came before it. So before I go any further, I'll just play the clip for you to show you what it is I'm talking about, and then we'll break down exactly what it is. So here is the clip, just taken from his Instagram. Okay, let's listen to that part again. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at in today's video. And what is that? What is Joe playing there? Well, for me, the first couple of times I listened to that clip, I didn't quite grasp it. My ear wasn't recognizing what it was, but after I downloaded the clip, I extracted the audio, slowed it down, and transcribed every note that he was playing in that particular part of the clip. When I did that, I realized, oh, this is something that I actually do a lot of in my own playing already, in my own improv. And it's just that Joe was doing it in a unique way that I hadn't heard before, in a way that I had not considered doing myself, which I thought was really cool. And so what it is he is playing a pair of major triads found within the Mixolydian scale. I'll say that one more time. What Joe is playing here is a pair of major triads found within the Mixolydian scale. Now, if you don't know what any of that means, don't be scared. Don't run away to another video just yet, because I am going to attempt to explain this concept in a somewhat concise manner over the course of this video. And just to shut up the theory haters before they start leaving their comments down below, I don't know if Joe thinks about his playing in this analytical way. I would assume that he has a very good understanding of music theory, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's one of those guys that is just very good at leading with their ear and seeing where that takes them in their solos. Both are fine. It's fine to not know your theory and be a great player. It's also fine to know your theory and be a great player. Either way, doesn't matter. None of it changes the fact that that is what Joe is playing, a pair of major triads found within the Mixolydian mode. And in this video, I want to help you guys understand what that means so that you can start using it and applying it to your own improvisational playing. But first, here's the tab and notation for the notes that Joe was playing there. Okay, so technically that last part would be an arpeggio, but there is still a triad in there. Now let's go back to that Mixolydian triad pair I mentioned earlier. So here's a quick music theory lesson for you all on triads. If you already know what triads are, then feel free to skip ahead. Chords in their most basic form are made up of 3 notes, a root, third, and fifth. These 3 notes make up what's known as a triad. Okay, and there are all sorts of different triads like major, minor, diminished, augmented, but the only one we're going to be looking at in today's video is the major triad. For every type of triad, you have 3 different inversions that you can play. This applies to all instruments, not just guitar. An inversion is simply the order of the 3 notes that make up the triad from low to high. So for example, here are 3 inversions of a B flat major triad on the 2nd string set, which is the D, G, and B strings. Starting with a root position major triad, which has the root note in the bass, the 3rd in the middle, and the 5th on top. Root, 3rd, 5th. Then we have a 1st inversion major triad, which has the 3rd in the bass, the 5th in the middle, and the root note on top. 3rd, 5th, root. And lastly, we have a 2nd inversion major triad, which has the 5th in the bass, the root note in the middle, and the 3rd on top. 5th, root, 3rd. Okay, so that's what 3 inversions of a major triad look like on a particular string set. We'll revisit inversions further on in the video, but for now, I just want to talk about triads in the context of scales. So those of you that already know fundamental music theory should know that you can build triads from each degree in a particular scale. For example, the major scale, which has 7 notes, and the triads built from each of those 7 scale degrees are as follows: major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So there are 3 major triads found within the major scale, but we're not exactly dealing with the major scale in today's video. We're dealing with Mixolydian, which is the 5th mode of the major scale, and because it's literally built from the notes of the major scale, that means that it has the same number of major triads, it has the same number of minor triads, and it also has 1 diminished triad. Take a look on screen and you'll see this for yourself. The triads built from each scale degree in Mixolydian are major, minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major. So that's 3 major triads, 1 built from the root of the scale, 1 built from the 4th, and 1 built from the 7th, which in Mixolydian is a flat 7th. Now a flat 7th can always be found a tone below the root note, which when looked at on 1 string equals the distance of 2 frets. So here's 1 octave of B flat Mixolydian so that you can see this for yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that 7th note there is the flat 7th of B flat Mixolydian, which is the note A flat. 2 frets higher, you have the root note once again, which is of course B flat. So here's the root note, 2 frets below it is the flat 7th. What this all means is that within Mixolydian there are 3 major triads, and 2 of those are only a tone apart, which really isn't very far at all. Like I just demonstrated, on 1 string that's literally the distance of 2 frets. So if I'm improvising with B flat Mixolydian like Joe is in his Instagram clip, I know that I can play B flat major triads because those are built from the root of Mixolydian, like the inversions I showed you earlier on. But I also know that 2 frets below each of those inversions, I can literally play the same major triad shapes and play A flat major triads, which would be the major triad in Mixolydian that's built from the flat 7th. This is what I like to call the Mixolydian triad pair, a pair of major triads found within Mixolydian that are a tone apart. One is built from the root note and the other is built from the flat 7th. Since those triad inversion shapes are so close together, it's pretty comfortable combining them in licks because you can slide in and out of them with relative ease. I mentioned at the start of the video that when I realized what Joe was playing in his Instagram clip, that I recognized it as something I had already been doing in my improvisational playing with Mixolydian. It's just that Joe was playing it in a way that I hadn't heard before. So here's a lick that you can learn that demonstrates how I would typically incorporate the Mixolydian triad pair into my lead playing. And just so you're aware, this is going to be in the key of B, not B flat. So just making you aware of that. It's played over a backing track that I used in my new lick package that I just added to my website. So that's why it's in the key of B. So here is the lick. So hopefully you could see there that with that lick, I was literally taking the same root position major triad inversion on the second string set and using it to play both of the triads found in the Mixolydian triad pair. I started on A major, which would be the major triad built from the flat seventh in this key. And then I moved that shape up by 2 frets to play a B major triad, which is of course built from the root of the scale. So basically I was taking the same root position inversion and using it to play both of the triads found in the triad pair. But what Joe did in his video was he started out with a first inversion B flat major triad, okay, with the third in the bass. And then he moved up to play a root position A flat major, which he then, as you just heard, extended to repeat the root note and the major third an octave higher, therefore making it an arpeggio. So essentially he's mixing up inversions. He's mixing a first inversion major triad built from the root of Mixolydian and a root position major triad built from the flat seventh of Mixolydian, and extending that to make it an arpeggio. And this all caught me off guard for a couple of reasons. One is that there's such a big leap in pitch from the first note of the B flat major to the last note of the A flat major arpeggio. And the other reason was simply the mixture of different triad inversions. As already mentioned, he started out with a first inversion B flat major triad, so that's the triad built from the root of Mixolydian, which had the third in the bass, the fifth in the middle, and the root on top. Okay, so first inversion for the triad built from the root of the scale, and then root position for the triad built from the flat seventh, which has the root in the bass, third in the middle, and the fifth on top. So I really like how Joe has mixed up triad inversions here, because how I always did it was I just took one inversion shape and I used that to play both of the major triads found within the Mixolydian triad pair. It never really occurred to me that, oh, I could play a root position and then move to a second inversion, or a first and then move up to a root position, and get all these big leaps in pitch and extend up to make those triads arpeggios. None of that stuff had ever really occurred to me, so it was cool to see Joe do that. And you know, sometimes you reach a point in your playing where you feel like you've exhausted every possible way of playing a particular scale or phrase or arpeggio or whatever it might be. You think to yourself, oh, there's just no other possible way of playing this, is there? But of course there is. You know there is. It's often staring you right in the face and you just can't see it, because that's the nature of being stuck in a rut, which is something that is very natural for musicians to go through from time to time. And the cool thing about this, and the entire big point of this whole video, is that sometimes all it takes for you to get out of that rut is 3-4 seconds out of a 60-second Instagram clip of another player. Sometimes that's all it takes for you to have that light bulb moment where you think, Oh, right. Yeah, of course you could do that. Of course you could play it that way. Why did I not see that before? And that's just something that we all go through as musicians, and it's a natural part of the challenge that is becoming a better musician. So that's what I wanted to share with you all today. If you've been struggling with your blues playing and you were looking for something more exciting to add to your solos other than pentatonic licks, then I hope that this lesson about the Mixolydian triad pair was helpful. If you feel like you did learn something useful today and you want to help support my work for free, please do give the video a like. It helps to promote the video and push it out to more guitar players, which would be great. If you're interested in learning more soloing concepts like this one, I just added a brand new lick package to my website that takes you through 10 licks inspired by Joe Bonamassa and Eric Johnson. You can check that out at bulletproofguitarplayer.com. Subscribing to the site gives you full access to all site content, with more instructional material being added every single month, so that the value of your subscription increases over time at no additional cost to you. Link is in the description. Don't forget to subscribe for more free content like this in the future. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.